If guilty, you've got to add a 0 to the points deductions that we've seen for Forest and Everton. If not guilty, there's going to be a lot of trouble.
If we're found guilty, and, we'll hold our hands up. But regardless of the verdict, I think the damage has already been done.
For us, it just feels like it's always the big six are protected and the rest of us, it doesn't matter.
The lad's had 20 years at the club, and if he wants to go, if he wants to, do something different, try a different city, go to a different club, who am I to say he shouldn't do that?
Selling someone like Kobbie Mainoo would just be like the death bell.
What chance have we got? I mean, all these sharks come round, show a bit of money, and they're off. So,
Ivan Toney would have been great, but apparently him and Arteta, who knows, right? Apparently didn't have the same philosophy on football. I don't know.
He scores goals, I don't want you.
But that's what I mean.
Hello and welcome back to the Overlap fan debate brought to you by Sky Bet. I'm alongside Paul Scholes and all our lovely fans from up and down the country. So, the weekend, what have we done? What's cup games, Salford? How's it been the weekend?
Yeah, good win for Salford Saturday, Bromley away, which was nice, tough game. We've still got 8 games left, I think 7 or 8 games that we need to win, probably 6 of them to get in the playoffs. But yeah, the rest of it, FA Cup. Strange weekend, really. I mean, no Premier League football. After 2 weeks of missing it, really strange.
Well, last week on Stick to Football, the other show that we do, on the Overlap, there was a little bit of banter about murals in Liverpool. We've all got one. And someone else might have one in Middleton.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I missed the episode last week. Sorry, I don't really know what you're talking about, but yeah. There's a mural on the side of a chippy.
Chippy?
Is that
a chippy that you used to go to, or why is it in the city? Is this where you grew up?
It's where I grew up, yeah, Middleton, yeah, that's where I'm from. I didn't really know about it. Somebody sent me a picture of it on Instagram. Last week, apparently, there was a vote for 3 or 4 people from Middleton.
I know the other ones. Who are the other
people?
ones?
Cortine.
Who?
Cortines. Aren't some of them?
They're Liam Frey.
Yeah.
I don't think it was him. Steve Coogan.
Okay.
And there was a girl, I think she's a swimmer, is it? Carragher Payne or something like that? Olympic swimmer. It sounds like I've got it wrong. I think it's something like that from Middleton. Anyway, I won the vote.
So you're the most famous person from Middleton?
Yes.
Okay, so brilliant. It looks fantastic. We've got Kieran Maguire in, famous for The Price of Football. That's a book, isn't it, or a podcast?
I think it's both.
Is it both? Okay, so you made a few quid there. But let's start with the FA Cup. Luke?
Yeah.
Another semi-final for Manchester City. 7 semi-finals in a row, is that some going there?
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't bottle it to Wigan in 2018 as well, it'd been 9. Pep's got 8 and 9, so it's mad. Hopefully,
like a trophy. You said like a trophy, 8 and 9. The semi-finals, aren't they?
Yeah, well, no one else has got 7 in a row, have they? So it's consistency, innit? So hopefully we can go through. Bournemouth yesterday was all right until the coach broke down on the way back. 13 hours on a coach ain't nice.
I watched the game yesterday and I was struck by how much it meant to Pep. I could see when the goals were going in, his reaction on the side of the pitch, when the final whistle blew, it almost felt like he knew or he felt that was a really tough game. Obviously, he's lost there, I think, in the league as well. Did you feel that as a supporter? It felt like a big victory.
The away end was like really, I think it's probably the best we've had all year. There's only 1.9k City fans, but it was like a proper hardcore away end. A Sunday against Bournemouth, it's an absolute trek, everyone knows that. And it was really, really good all game. The players as well. It's a weird little things you pick up on. First thing they did at kickoff, all came and just clapped the fans. And sometimes they give a token gesture like that, but I thought the whole game, it was quality that yesterday, and it was a big win. It's probably the biggest game of the season.
What about the lads who come on? He was brilliant.
O'Reilly, he's got 2 goals against Plymouth. I know it's Plymouth. You can't disrespect him too much. They beat Liverpool, obviously. In the last round, he's got 2 goals, and then he's come off the bench under pressure at left back and got two assists to win the game and got man of the match again. So, trust the youth players, I suppose. And,
did he score against Salford as well?
Yeah, he got 1 against Salford, yeah. Well, there's a lot of players got 1 against Salford.
Would you class this, if you won the FA Cup, how would you class the season? Would it be classed as a success?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think everyone's mind's been skewed a little bit by the fact, obviously City have been so successful recently, but if we can get in the Champions League and win the FA Cup, other than Liverpool, that's the best season pretty much anyone in England will have.
It's better than Gillingham in the playoffs, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's definitely better than that. But yeah, I think that's a quality season. Like, if we'd gone toe-to-toe with Liverpool and lost out and not won the FA Cup and come second, you'd rather come fifth and win an FA Cup than that, definitely. So
It's not a quality season for Man City, though, is it?
no, it's not a quality season. It's
You
a
just
good
said
season.
it was, though.
Yeah, maybe I've got a bit excited because we beat Bournemouth in the cup, but yeah, it's a good season. You can't argue with a cup, and I mean, I'm not saying we were anywhere near. We could lose the cup and we could lose top 5, but I don't think you can argue with a cup and getting in the Champions League. That's the target now, isn't it? So
Hannah, Scholes just said in terms of Manchester City winning the FA Cup and maybe qualifying for the Champions League is not a successful season for them, but for Aston Villa that'd be a great season, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's something that most Villa fans alive now haven't seen, or at least my generation, my parents' generation. The FA Cup is the one thing that we've really missed, and in my lifetime I've not seen us win a trophy. So the FA Cup is sort of like the creme de la creme of English football. It's the one that everyone really wants to win. So for us to get that, I think would make this an incredible season. I think it's the thing that Emery has come to the club to do. And I don't think he'll really be happy until we have some silverware. Obviously, doing that in the Champions League is particularly difficult. But I feel like in the FA Cup this season, we're probably not going to get a better chance. Like, no disrespect again to the teams we're up against, because Forest, City and Palace are all teams that we've struggled against historically and in recent times. So I don't think it will be easy by any stretch to even get to the final. But it's a really good opportunity. You've not got Liverpool, United, Chelsea, Arsenal in the competition anymore. So we've absolutely got to go for it. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to do it.
You know, when you say go for it, do you think there could be a situation where obviously you're trying to qualify for the Champions League through your league position, you're in the Champions League, you've got the FA Cup. I mean, we always get asked this as players or supporters, and, you know, choose one. What is the one that you think, that's where I want my manager to play his best team and go all out for it?
I think at the minute, for me, it's the FA Cup, because we just don't know how that league form's going to go. It's been a bit iffy. If winning the FA Cup guarantees us a place in Europe, which is, we absolutely need it for so many reasons, not only to win a trophy, but financially we need to be in Europe. So I think the FA Cup is where we need to be. The Champions League could just be that step too far for us, I think.
And also, I just want to welcome you on your debut, so thanks for coming along. Also, Scholes, I want to ask you about, probably didn't happen so much with you because you won things and qualified for the Champions League. But when I've asked that question about Champions League or FA Cup, where would you stand on that as a player? I was glad what you said. That's what I would sort of want to do as a player, win the FA Cup.
Yeah, I definitely I'd want to win a medal.
Yeah,
it's the most important thing. Is, you know, when you're looking back on your career in years to come and looking back at your club, you're not thinking, oh, we qualify for the Champions League. There's nothing to show for that, really, is there, other than a bit of prestige of being in the competition. But when you look back and we've won the FA Cup, you've got a medal, you've got something to show, and I always think it's always more important to win things rather than qualify for things, if you know what I mean.
So we're speaking about the FA Cup, and I made a comment last week that hasn't gone down particularly well with Man City fans, that I think it'd be great for the FA Cup if City didn't win at a different team. So to prove that, probably the majority of the people thinking along the same lines. Hands up, anyone who wants to see Man City win the FA Cup. More than I thought, actually. You've got a Birmingham shirt on there, and you're a Man City fan.
No, I'd just rather Villa didn't win.
There are other teams in the competition who can also win it. But now that we're talking about Manchester City, I think we're all aware that it feels like the situation we've been talking about for the last, I don't know how many years, about Man City's charges. We're going to get the result one way or another in the next few days or weeks. So, Kieran, we've got you in. Can you tell us where we're at right now, and you know how close is the call to be coming out?
Well, I've been on standby from a few broadcasters for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and my wife's got a suitcase packed because if the verdict comes in, she's moving out. So we don't know. I have spoken to some people high up, and they reckon that only 4 or 5 people in the country know when the verdict's going. So there's lots of IT cases, lots of people saying on WhatsApp groups and so on that it's due out this Friday, next Monday, and so on. But nobody knows for sure. When it does come out, I think the big fear is that you get the verdict as to whether they're guilty or innocent of the 115 charges, but you don't get told what the punishment is. That could take later. You know, if you look at some court cases, somebody will be found guilty or not guilty, and then the judge goes away and considers. I think that would really set the cat amongst the pigeons. But in terms of the actual date, I think Pep said that it was going to be in March. Well, we've got to the end of March and no news. So how long, we don't know. And also, you've got to think about the lawyers. You know, they're on the clock. If I'm on, £3,000-5,000 an hour, I'm not going to hurry a decision as to when the result's going to come out.
Do you think it will be before the end of the season, or do you think everybody wants to get it before the end of the season so you know where you are maybe for next season as well?
There's certainly a desire from the Premier League for it to come out, because otherwise we've got a hangover over the summer in terms of where does this leave clubs? Because if it comes out in July, for example, and Manchester City are given a 40 or 50 point deduction, then presumably one of Leicester or Ipswich will be saying, well, if that had come out earlier, we would have avoided relegation. So therefore, they might be putting in a legal case. We've seen Burnley recently put in a case against Everton for the points deduction there. They feel that they suffered financially. We've seen both Middlesbrough and Wycombe Wanderers do the same for Derby County when they got a points deduction because it came in too late. And if that does kick off, you've got a huge legal ramifications.
Scholes, I mean, obviously we're not legal people, but I mean, what would you think would be a fair punishment if Man City were guilty?
I don't know, Jamie. It's hard to say. And just as long as it is fair, I think that's the right word to use. Obviously, Forest and Everton have had punishments as well, haven't they? So as long as it's along those fair lines, and look, I don't know, Kieran's probably the
There's a few points like that for Man City is not going to make up for over a decade. Am I right in thinking the charges go right back to 2009? I mean, you were only just born then. Like, it's been your whole life that Man City have been doing this, and it's had knock-on effects for everybody else like us. We have had 2009, where the charges date back to. We were in the Championship, we were 15th. We had just been taken over a few years under Marcus Evans. But that was our 15 years in the Championship stalemate because our owner would not spend any money. Mm-hmm. And McCarthy said the year that he got us into the playoffs, he needed money for us to finish automatic, and we didn't, we dropped. And then we didn't get through the playoffs.
All I was saying, I know going back to that, but I'll just say as long as the punishment is fair. Like, I'm not saying it has to be the same as Everton, the same as Forest, but as long as it's fair, even going back that long, then big points. I think it will be points, won't it, Kieran?
It will be. The tariffs that we've seen from the commissions for both Everton and Forest said the way forward. It's no point fining a billionaire owner a few quid. So because there's no disincentive there to misbehave. So if you take a look at, if you read the commission reports, and I wouldn't recommend, it's probably about as exciting as watching Brighton versus Forest at the weekend. If you read the commission reports from cover to cover, they both say that these were minor breaches of the rules. And what Manchester City are being accused of is corporate fraud over the period of nearly a decade. So if guilty, you've got to add a 0 to the points deductions that we've seen for Forest and Everton. If not guilty, there's going to be a lot of trouble.
Sorry, Jamie, I was just going to say, they usually frame it as if both sides have won, haven't they? Somehow. Do you think that's likely to happen as well? And there's also there's a lawyer's fees to pay as well, isn't there?
Yeah, if we take a look at the associated party transaction rule, which came out recently, where Manchester City effectively said the Premier League rules are unfair, that was a big victory for Manchester City. But the Premier League have tried to claim that they were the beneficiaries there. We will find out. Ultimately, there's going to be a penalty, and that penalty is going to be decided by the Commission. If it's in the form of points deductions, then it's got to be a victory for the Premier League. I think that the one concern that people have is what happens if Manchester City are found innocent of the accusations of inflating money coming into the club and playing players off book, but they've been found guilty of not cooperating with the Premier League, in which case they'll get a fine because that's what UEFA did.
Amy, can I ask you, you mentioned about the financial situation at Ipswich, but how do you and the other fans feel about actually footing the bill or the legal fee? Because they're going to have to be paid by the Premier League, and that's going to have to be split between all the clubs. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I don't know if we'll have to worry about it next year, but it just feels
You still have to pay it.
we had the same impact with Leicester and all of that coming and going last year, and whether they were going to get a points deduction if they hadn't, would that, I mean, we were all right in the end, but for us, it just feels like it's always the big six are protected and the rest of us, it doesn't matter. Like when we went into administration back in the early noughties, it was at the time where there were massive clubs starting to go out of business. And it just feels like that just gets forgotten and doesn't matter. For me, the biggest thing is, at the end of the day, these punishments are here because it is the wrong way to run a football club. And that just gets forgotten amongst Man City getting a fine that won't even touch their pockets, which is likely to be what is going to happen. I just think we feel like we're never...
We don't really know, do we, sir?
We don't know. You are absolutely right, and that is totally me 7 months into the Premier League, and I'm an absolute pessimist, so I totally get it. But it doesn't feel like the actions, I mean, like I say, I'll keep saying it, this is a decade and a half now of their actions being wrong, and it's still not been stopped. And it's happening across the league now as well, with so many clubs being involved. For us as Ipswich fans, there's a lot of resentment that we stuck to it.
Well, we'll have Delap back after you. He scored half your goals this year, Liam Delap. So,
well, that, yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about that another
you weren't bothered about that when he's
but...
a product of the academy that we've apparently fraudulently made. So there you go.
So you're expecting a big apology from everyone, aren't you, if this ruling goes your way?
Well, at the end of the day, the way I see it, with anything in life, unless something's been proven, I'm not going to have an opinion on it. So
So you've never had an opinion on anything in your life?
Of course not, Jamie. Of course not, Jamie. At the end of the day, there's no verdict. So I just think it's very unfair from other fan bases. They can, you know, in private, speak about how you like, but I just see a lot of pundits and stuff coming out speaking a lot about this. And like Pep said when it all happened, he said City have basically been condemned. Like the reputational damage has already been done. It could come out tomorrow now, City not guilty, and I think everyone would just still stick to the same opinions they've got now. So that's how I feel about it. I know a lot of City fans share the same opinion. If we're found guilty, we're found guilty, and you know we'll hold our hands up. But I just think the damage is already done, regardless of the verdict. I think the damage has already been done.
It's time for our new game on the winning track, brought to you by Trainline. Their best price guarantee means you won't find cheaper same-day train tickets anywhere else. And even if you do, Trainline will refund the difference. Exclusions and conditions apply. Search best price guarantee on trainline.com. Right, we've got a new segment in the show. It is the Trainline segment. We can see it up there. We're going to call it the winning track. Me and Scholes are going to be involved, obviously, and fans will compete against each other to identify a mystery footballer. And the winning team will win a Trainline voucher.
Ooh. Don't mind it.
Yeah, but there's a catch. There's a catch.
Got to pay for it.
If you, yeah. If you guess and you guess wrong, you're out. You're done.
Oh.
Right, and the first one is Adam v Luke.
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Come on, Adam.
Right, come on. Scholesy, put the first one on.
Bournemouth.
God.
No, there are no takers. Put the next one on.
Liverpool. I think that's about right, Jamie.
Yeah.
Dominic Solanke.
Adam. I'm sorry.
He's
It's a good guess as well.
Can I have that clip,
Sorry.
please, for my alarm?
The next one, Scholesy.
That's a really good guess. Tottenham. Don't know.
Yeah, I would have said it again anyway.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's what made me realise a good guess.
Go on, next one.
This has got a seal it, hasn't it? Southampton.
He's not going to get it.
Jamie Redknapp.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Tim.
I was thinking current.
1-0.
So get them all off and we're going to go on to the next player.
When did he retire, by the way?
What's that?
When did he retire?
I would say about 05, 06.
So I was 2 when he retired, brilliant.
Yeah. You weren't born?
I was 2 when he retired.
Oh, you 2.
Yeah.
So we've got mystery player 2. First club on, please, Scholesy.
Bournemouth again?
Yes.
Is that right? Carragher.
Yeah. Go on, go to the next one, then I'm going to go with that one.
Burnley. Where the fuck's
Is it
Burnley?
down here, is it?
They're Manchester, isn't it?
Yeah.
Up a bit. That's all right.
No. Right, the next one.
Liverpool.
Even I know that.
Good at this, you two, aren't you?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Next club.
Southampton again. Which two
Danny
are
Ings.
playing? Yes, well done.
So this is the last one. Mystery player 3.
Please don't start in Bournemouth. I was there yesterday. I can't bear the place now. Come on.
Right, come on then. We'll start with the first one. Scholesy.
Blackburn, which is near Burnley, isn't it? Was that up here?
Yeah. Go straight to the second one. There's no chance they're going to get with that.
Newcastle. Where are we going up here?
Yeah. Right, next one.
Manchester City. I think it's easy, this one, isn't it?
You should get this.
Next one.
Aston Villa.
Oh.
If you haven't got it now, I'm not sure you're going to get it.
No, I'll have the last one to help. No.
Are they still playing?
No.
Well, we can't ask questions.
I'm helping you out as well, you know.
Where's that about here? Stoke?
Yeah. It's Stoke East Midlands.
Nah, you're just a bit lower than Manchester on the right, I'd say.
That's
a
not-
little bit, I think.
Goalkeeper.
Shay Given.
Yes.
I was thinking that, but I didn't know he played for
weren't.
Blackburn. I was. She was, I promise you.
Well done. A great start to the new segment. Remember to download the Trainline app and search Best Price Guarantee on trainline.com. What's the situation with the supporters with this ticketing thing that you're involved in now via GoGo?
Really poor, yeah. So the club have basically season tickets. So I've got a season ticket. Obviously, a lot of City fans have got season tickets, but there's no more being added. So if you've got a young lad now that's 10, 12, young girl, whatever it is, they can't get a season ticket. And the club are trying to use this ticket agency via GoGo. They're selling tickets on there for, inflated prices, and they're more bothered about making money, it seems, on like a game-to-game basis.
Is that a problem with? I saw some of this online where the away supporters are actually buying them. So they're like Madrid fans and was the Liverpool fan ended up in the away end?
Really poor, yeah. You get, and it's disappointing because you see there's City fans that have been banned. There's City fans that, and rightfully so. If you're being vile, for example, at the Liverpool game, a Liverpool fan leaped up in the home end, I believe, and he just got battered basically, which is wrong. You can't have violence at football games, but that could have been prevented by not selling a ticket in the home end to a Liverpool fan. There's a handful of issues at City with tickets, but I know the fan groups and stuff are tackling them, so hopefully they can.
It feels like the clubs are starting to become the touts.
Yeah.
The clubs are starting to wrap up tickets in packages or going through third parties to charge more and more via the back door almost. So I think it's brilliant that City fans are
so for any City fans or other fans watching, I think the 1894 group have arranged for the Leicester game. We're going to miss the first 9 minutes of the game because this is the 9th effective agency that City have sold tickets to or whatever. So for the first 9 minutes, a handful, hopefully as many fans as possible, are just not going to walk in, just going to stay on the concourse.
Good. Gareth, you what you said there, and the reason I want to say this, because I've got a lot of mates, Liverpool fans, and the atmosphere has been questioned at Anfield this season, even though Liverpool are obviously looking like they're going to have a really successful season. What happened at Wembley? I know we lost the game, it wasn't a great game, but the atmosphere wasn't great, and a lot of people I speak to are talking about who's actually getting their hands on the tickets or different things. Is that a problem for Liverpool? So Man City are talking there, I've heard, obviously Rory's been in before speaking about Chelsea as well. Is this affecting the atmosphere as well at grounds?
I think so. I think what's happened is, and there's rights and wrongs, and it depends what pot you're in. But at Liverpool, as an example, I'm a season ticket holder and I've been for a long time, but I didn't go to Wembley because I didn't qualify for a ticket in the ballot and wasn't able to get one from anywhere else. And that's not the first time that's happened to me or my mates, and we've all gone since we were teenagers. So what's happened is Liverpool have kept the number of season tickets suppressed. It's low as a percentage compared to the rest of the league. And what they've done is sold loads and loads and loads of memberships. There's about, I think it's around 200,000 memberships. So anyone who's a member who's been to, say, the games in the League Cup, they're in the same pot as me. So it's slightly more random, if you like, who's ending up with the tickets for finals. You're not having that sort of loyalty rewarded. And there is debate with the club about that. Some people are saying it should be a point system, it should go back a long time and things like that. I think you do have that at other clubs. I think Chelsea have a point. You've got it at Brighton. So there's a debate going on about that currently. But yeah, there's definitely, I mean, it's always dodgy ground though, isn't it? Because, you know, you mentioned before about, you know, kids who want to get on the ladder. My lad's a teenager himself. He wants to start going all the time. I do my best, but, you know, he didn't go to the final. But, you know, he's a member. So how does he get on the ladder? And it's all down to the fact that, you know, the whole league and the club has been marketed to the nth degree all around the world, and it's become a global product, hasn't it? And there's huge demand for it. And this is a consequence of that. So it's striking the balance.
Okay. I haven't spoke to you, look, as I say, let's get back to the football, but I haven't spoke to you since the news about sort of Trent blew up again. So I had my say in it, lots of other former players have as well. But what's your take as a Liverpool fan? Because a lot of people are sort of almost telling, not just Liverpool, but any club in this situation, they always tell you, you know, whether the Liverpool fans are right or they're wrong and how you should feel about it. What is the general consensus of the fan base?
Well, to me, there's lots. I see lots of different opinions. One of the ones that's really annoying me is sort of people telling other people what they should think, and that if you don't think this way, you're therefore not a big red or whatever it might be. I think I'm quite cold about football. Like, I still like it, I still go, I'm still passionate about it, I still have a great time. But, you know, over the years, it's ground me down, I've got to be honest. So I think the last player that I was really sort of emotionally invested in, it was probably Fernando Torres. And when he went to Chelsea, I was like, I'm sort of done with that. I'm going to protect myself from now on, if you know what I mean. So I'm not going to go all in on players in that same way. Plus, I've grown up, I'm nearly 50. So with Trent, I just look at it as, he's been a great player for us. It's been a great story. I love the fact that a lad from West Derby lifted the European Cup and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I would love him to stay. But equally, some of the vitriol I see, it's mostly on social media as usual, I'm not in on it. I don't feel it. I just think the lad's had 20 years at the club, and if he wants to go, if he wants to, you know, do something different, try a different city, go to a different club, who am I to say he shouldn't do that? And look, I get the bit where people say, I wish there could be a fee coming back to Liverpool, but equally, they've had 20 years out of him. Yeah. And I just think, and he didn't pay nothing for him. You know, he's come to as a 6-year-old, hasn't he? And I also think as well, there are just nuances to whatever argument you make, there's a slight nuance to it. So even that saying about a transfer fee, if there was one, would Madrid still be interested? Because it's a tactic of Madrid, that, isn't it, to do that. I think Alaba, when he went, was a similar situation. You know, his contract was worn down. He was at a big club in Bayern Munich, but he wanted to go and play for Madrid. And when you've got that situation, however that starts, however that process begins, Bellingham talking on international duty or whatever it might be, allegedly, once the ball's rolling, what can the club really do about that? Maybe 2 years ago they could have sold him, but then you don't get Trent for 2 years. So, you know what I mean? Wherever you go with it, I feel like there's slight nuances and counter-arguments. And like I say, I'm not angry about it. I just think that's what happens in modern football. And when it's the other way around, when a club just casts a player aside, no one really talks about that, do they? So, you know, players get a phone call when they're on the beach in the summer and say, oh yeah, we're selling you. And they'll be like, hang on. Well, there's no loyalty that way around, is there? And that's happened, and Liverpool have done that. Liverpool have bought players on frees as well, and Liverpool got, I don't know, Harvey Elliott as an example, and Fulham weren't happy about that. Liverpool got Virgil van Dijk, and Southampton reported Liverpool over that, the way they went about it. So, yeah, I'm not happy about it. I wish he was staying, but I'm not angry either.
Yeah. Scholes, what's your view on that? If, let's say, that was a Manchester lad come through the academy, or...
Right, yeah, so I try to imagine it as if it was one of our players growing up and we were a dominant team. We felt for a long time that we could go on and win leagues and challenge for European Cups. So it probably didn't work out as well as we wanted. And I don't think any of us would want to go. I really don't. I think if you talk about the Manchester United team now and somebody came in, then yeah, good luck. You deserve to go. Now, I think Trent's possibly looking at Liverpool and thinking, look, they're a really good team, they're going to win the Premier League. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a dominant team now for years to come. You might disagree with that. I don't know. You might disagree, but it doesn't feel like that at this point. It still feels like there's a few issues at Liverpool. Obviously with Trent, with Van Dijk and Mo Salah, and you still think there's a bit of work to do. So I think that's the main difference. And he'll go to Real Madrid, and Real Madrid are going to win leagues. They are going to probably win European Cups for the next 10 years. So I can understand him wanting to do it from that point of view.
Mm-hmm. Gareth, you've got a question for Kieran?
Yeah, I just wondered how you thought the club might be looking at the Trent situation. So, you know, what I just talked about there, about getting a transfer fee, when what would the bean counters think about, you know, losing this fee that was never on the table in the first place? Would they be tearing their hair out saying that's 70 or 80 million quid down the drain? Or would they be saying he was nothing in the first place? We've had this value out of him. We've had perhaps the peak of his career. We've done all right out of him.
Well, I think there was an offer from Real Madrid in January, and it was about 25 million.
Derisory. Yeah.
They turned that down. Now, why did they turn that down? Because they're looking to qualify for the Champions League next season. That's the most important thing. That's worth up to 150 to 200 million. So therefore, by keeping Trent at the club and making sure that they win the Premier League, you do it from a financial point of view, making progress in Europe, making progress in the Cups. They would have done the sums, because they are the most cold and calculating and forensic club going, and they are brilliant at what they do. So they simply said, we are better off keeping him till the end of the season. That £25 million lost will be more than made up by winning the Premier League. The bonuses they get from sponsors, getting the additional money you get from being the top club from the English 5 in next year's Champions League, that has all been factored into that decision.
And 10 million quid off the wage bill when he goes as well.
Well, I think it might have to go and sign somebody else. So you look at always look at things on a net basis.
Baz, I want to speak to you about the Merseyside derby. I mean, what are your thoughts going into it?
Fear. I'm thankful Sean Dyche isn't in charge. No, I think, listen, it's a tough game. We know it's always tough at Anfield. Everton don't do very well at Anfield, to be fair. I think Liverpool Liverpool need this. They've had a couple of, I think they've lost the last two, haven't they? They've played, so they'll be ready for it. Obviously, there's a little bit of an edge, I think, because the other one wasn't that long ago on Tarkowski's volleying on them. You know, I think Liverpool fans were too happy. Although I do remember West Brom celebrations and stuff, but there you go. No, bit of banter. No, listen, I think Everton are in really good form. You know, 9 games unbeaten. If we're still unbeaten on Thursday morning, I might be celebrating myself outside somewhere, doing the arms and all that. But that was a tough game. Liverpool are going to win the league. So it's a really tough one, and, you know, we'll see.
You just said there about Sean Dyche, and obviously Moyes' coming has done brilliant, but Sean Dyche is obviously, he's been on Talk Sport, hasn't he, a couple of times. I mean, how's it gone down, what he said about sort of the job that he did at Everton, or, you know, how it went?
I think it's caused more stir, the job he said he did at Burnley. He wished he'd have put them 150 million in debt and got the Bayern Munich job. I think that one was the one that caught a lot. But I don't know, I think there's half of Evertonians don't want to hear his name. There's a third, that's good maths, isn't it? There's a quarter who are probably a bit like talking utter nonsense. And then there'll be the ones who he gaslighted who go, oh yeah, he was right, he did do a good job. But, you know, when you look back at his spell, 5 months nearly without a win isn't doing a good job. 3 wins in half a season and not scoring in 9 out of 11 games isn't a good job. So it depends. I mean, if his sort of MO is just to keep you in the Premier League, then he'll argue that 17th is like winning the Champions League, but that's not what I see. I mean, we've had Marco Silva this week doing an interview and referencing Everton and saying you don't actually realise how big they are till you manage them, and they're still the 5th most successful English team and all that. Sean Dyche turned up as if he hadn't even heard of Everton, and he was doing us a favour. So that's the way it is. Moyes has flipped it, like I said. We'll go to Anfield, we'll have a go. That might play into Liverpool's hands or not, I don't know. Liverpool are the top side anyway, so it's just one of them on Wednesday. But can I just ask Kieran one quick question just about because you brought the Burnley thing up before about trying, which is nonsense, by the way. They should be trying to sue the Premier League, not Everton. But if this thing goes against Man City, Can we have a case for 2014 when they stopped us getting in the Champions League by beating us, twice, stopped us getting into a League Cup final, stopped us getting... Do you know what I mean?
They want to give Liverpool another title.
No, that's what I mean. It opens up like absolute chaos, I think. Yeah. What's your sort of opinion on members suing each other or trying to?
I think there will be an awful lot of clubs taking legal counsel with a view to, do we think we've got a good case? From a legal probability point of view, we do have precedent. Yeah. So therefore, going forwards, I suspect there'll be an awful lot of out-of-court settlements because it's a lot cheaper than doing it and trying to get some mediation and negotiation. But the lawyers will be rubbing their hands together if Manchester City lose.
Yeah.
Simon, I want to come to you on, sort of the big story of Arsenal the last few days is bringing in a new sporting director and the guys from Atletico Madrid.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, I think we're in that world now, aren't we, where we know about these people and the clubs that they've been at. They're almost like it's like signing a player in some ways, isn't it? It's a very high profile. I mean, how's that gone down with the Arsenal fans? You're excited by the fact of this guy coming in?
I think so. If you look through his track record, it's pretty good. I mean, it's instantly linked us to Cunha from Wolves as well, because he signed him for Atletico in 2021. And obviously, maybe a question to ask Kieran, Arsenal do not want to spend a lot of money on a striker. Seems to be the way. Otherwise, you go drop 150 million on Isaac as soon as the window opened, wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do that? He's Premier League ready. He's tailor-made for Arsenal, I think. And he just keeps getting better and better. What price are Newcastle going to sell at? Super high. So if they're not going to do that, and you just brought this guy in and he knows Cunha, and I think his release clause is like 65 million, but that's least exciting because he has relationships with maybe different players and different clubs that we haven't done before. But also, you just said it, right? Everyone was talking about it before Manchester United got theirs, and obviously there was some controversy with that as well, with people coming and going. If you don't have that position secured up now, you're not going to get the players. And if Arsenal had left it until the transfer window opens, well, then what? You have 6 weeks or a month or whatever of doing nothing, then you're going to miss out on a bunch of other signings, and you are going to have to pay more. So the fact they've done it now in, sort of April, basically, gives them a couple of months to sort of, get your legs under the table, figure things out, work with Arteta and decide who we're going to get. I assume we'll finish second, but I live in hope. And then if they don't bring a striker, then something's gone terribly wrong. But I think it's good. I think it does feel like a new signing because you have to hit that summer window hard, and you can't do that without the foundations in place. And this guy sounds great. I mean, I'm going to say that obviously because I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm looking at the positives. I'm sure there's someone out there right now going, "Oh, he's terrible." That's why you've got him. He can just walk into any club. But he does have some good connections, it seems like. But we'll find out. I'm just glad they sorted it because obviously for the last few months it's been a bit weird about whatever happened between all of them.
Is Cunha the man that you'd want?
No. Shockingly,
I was going to say, he's not a...
No.
Not on the line, is he? No.
As well,
We've been looking, but apparently he has a relationship with Gyökeres as well, but I wouldn't want either of them personally because I kind of feel like, this is being a bit redundant, they feel more like a Havertz type player. You can play in and around that area. I want someone to stand there and just, what do you do? I score goals. What else do you do? I run around a lot. Then what do you do? I score more goals. So, I mean, Ivan Toney would have been great, but apparently him and Arteta, who knows, right? Apparently didn't have the same philosophy on football. I don't know. So many things get batted around. But you hear all
he scores goals, I don't want you.
But that's what I mean. I think it ties back to the Aubameyang thing, right? Like we all have to have this sort of one, which it makes sense, right? You want a similar philosophy. That's just nonsense you see on social media forums. How would anybody know? Well, someone sat right there going, "Oh, these two aren't getting on. There's no way they can do a thing." But no, I don't want players like that. If we want to go right back in time, just give me an Ian Wright, man. It feels like the rest of the team is in place, ready to go, and you just need someone to hang about in the box to put it in. Who that is, I don't know. So at the moment, the people we're linked with, it goes back to the Isaac thing, whatever. He will do more than that, but he'll score goals, whereas everybody else kind of feels like they'll keep shuffling back a little, they keep dropping deep. We've got those players, just need someone to put the ball in the box, ball in the goal, I should say. So hopefully not those players. But actually, Kieran, as you're here, if I can just sort of jump on that, everyone says that Arsenal, when it comes to sort of their financials, are pretty good. And they could go out and drop a lot of money, but they don't. So is it like a catch-22 situation, which is the reason why Arsenal never get brought up in these stories, is because they don't spend a lot of money and therefore they're good. So actually, they're kind of balancing the books.
No one wants to go to you either as well.
Yeah, of course they do. Everyone wants to come to us. We're great. I mean, we play like songs. We play like all the themes before people's games. We've got a dog called Win. Who doesn't want to come to Arsenal?
They're in London.
They're in London. You go out partying in nightclubs and stuff.
Kieran, people keep talking about Isaac and talking about the type of money. I've especially Arsenal, because it feels like they speak about it probably more than anybody. But financially, in terms of PSR and different things, are Arsenal and maybe Liverpool actually capable of would they be allowed to do this? Have they got the finances to do it?
Both clubs are in a very strong position because they are guaranteed Champions League qualification next season. So that's worth a minimum of 30 to 40 million pounds just for qualifying, plus the matches you'll pick up during the season. They're getting 4 to 5 million per home match. So you factor all of that in. If you sign a player, even for 150 million pounds, you spread that over 5 years, it's costing you 30 mil a year plus the wages. Let's say the wages, even at the top end, we're talking 45 million pounds for one player. That's your entry fee for the Champions League. And also, if we take a look at what Arsenal have done in recent years, their wage bill went down quite a bit. They had a lot of players who were on big contracts, if you remember, sort of 4 or 5 years ago. Those players have now moved off. Arsenal have got wiggle room. Liverpool will have wiggle room, potentially, because Trent's no longer going to be there, and we could lose 1 or 2 other players on top of that. So they've all got scope to spend. It's a case of, he's 26 years old, it's his last big contract. Clubs are also looking at potential movings later on in that player's career. That tends to not be the case when you get to 28, 29.
Adam, we're going to come to you. Manchester derby, not far away. I mean,
I'm not really focusing on the Premier League games at all, to be honest, at the moment. I'm mainly focused on Europa League. Like, you constantly hear how important the Champions League football is to these big teams, and I hate that we kind of have to think this way now as football fans. Oh, what does that transfer mean for our PSR, and what will Champions League look like? Really, I just want to hear the Champions League song at Old Trafford rather than thinking about what it means for us financially. But it is massively important. When you look at Man United's team in the summer, we're going to have to have some form of a rebuild. I think academy players and young players are the way out of it, generally speaking, for us, but we have to be able to spend in the market. And I was just wondering, Kieran, how much of a difference for Manchester United could that Europa League win, if we could get the trophy, make to United's summer? And without Champions League football, what would United's summer look like? Because I know we've kind of stripped a lot of the wage bill down over the last couple of years, and the players that have come in haven't been as big wages. There's still loads of names to go out. But could it be a positive summer without that Champions League money?
Champions League is transformative because you have got those guaranteed monies coming in. You've also, in the case of Manchester United, you've got the sponsor bonuses which will kick in for those companies' products being alongside that Champions League song and the big night. So Manchester United's commercial department will be able to name their own price when the group stage is kicking. So it is, without doubt, the most important thing the club should be concentrating on the rest of the season from a financial point of view. But you don't fall in love with football, apart from me, for PSR purposes. So that's where they really will be putting their efforts. How much could they spend? People are forgetting that Manchester United actually spent £251 million this season. That appears to go under the radar. They will have some players out of contract. They are not in any financial problems, despite what Jim Ratcliffe was saying. That was done for the cameras rather than anything else in terms of them running out of money by Christmas. So they are Manchester United. They're a huge brand. They will be very popular with players and so on.
It's interesting that you said that, because I genuinely felt like he could have been telling the truth. So why do you think he's said that then? What does he gain by?
It's deflection.
Okay.
Deflect, deny, discredit. I think he was trying to blame Dan Ashworth. He was trying to blame the previous manager. He was trying to blame. He can't come out and specifically mention the Glazers by name, but he was effectively saying, we've made some poor recruitment decisions, nothing to do with me, Gov, ignoring the fact that he recruited Dan Ashworth, spent £251 million and then sacked him.
Yeah, it was an intriguing interview, especially like we very rarely get to hear from someone in that position. So I think we're just kind of happy just to hear someone speak directly to the fans. But I did think he dodged a few things, but that one never came to mind really when he was speaking about.
Adam, what's this protest that's planned at the Manchester derby?
I know there's 1958 have been organising different protests. I think there was one with FC United the other day as well, which was nice to see some, kind of everyone coming together and being united against the Glazers again. How much of an impact these things can have, it's difficult to say really, because I don't think the Glazers give two shits, to be honest with you. As long as Old Trafford still got fans in there, and as long as the the revenues are still coming in for them and they can still get a dividend. I don't think they'll ever really care about fan opinion, but it is good to see us kind of coming together on things like ticket pricing and obviously the main aim just being to get the Glazers out of the club. But I don't think that will ever happen really. And that's why I think a lot of United fans had some sympathy with Jim Ratcliffe, because he seems to want to do the right things and make Manchester United a successful football club again. But we have got that, big dark cloud of the Glazers hanging over us constantly, and even with someone like him trying to make things happen, it's still difficult. So yeah, I'm for any protest against them and always have been.
Where are you, Adam, and the fans for that fact as well, with a lot of rumours about selling the academy products, to make, so it obviously provides more funds for players. Talk about Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo. I get the impression that fans probably aren't that bothered.
The Kobbie Mainoo one for me would, I know football's changed and the club's changed an awful lot, but selling someone like Kobbie Mainoo would just be like the death bell for me of what this club means. Like, you're not supposed to sell players like that. And you think about what he's already achieved for the club, scoring in a cup final, some great goals along the way as well. And I don't think, obviously, when you started out, you was a forward, weren't you? And then you kind of, Keano got injured, you dropped back into midfield. I don't think we've seen a midfield talent from our academy that is that good and that talented as Kobbie Mainoo. So to let him go, I think...
Yeah, he
was the last one, Pogba and Ravel,
maybe. He's been disappointing this year, though, don't you think?
He's been injured a lot, which hasn't helped.
Yeah,
I think he needs to be fit. And I think he's also, when he has been available, we've been trying to find out where's his best position. Is it deeper? Is it a bit further
That's
forward?
what makes me think, can this lad fit into my team?
I think one of those 10s or 8s, like higher up off the pitch, just off the striker, I think. Because that's, if you think about his goal against Liverpool at Old Trafford, his goal against Wolves, his goal against City in the final, they all come from him playing in that forward line, just off the left outside the box. So I think he could be someone that...
That was under
there.
Ten Hag, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, but that's where his best moments come. And I think if you play him in that position, you get him in that area.
Well, I know his best moments came last season under Ten Hag. That's why I'm asking the question: Can he fit?
If you can't get a footballer like Kobbie Mainoo in,
well, no, I
just find it.
I totally agree. I think one of them 10 positions is probably more suited to him. But I think he has tried him there this year, and it's. I don't know what it is. Whether he's got a hangover from last summer.
False nine, when I think he was crying out for a striker.
False nine.
Remember when I think he was crying out for a striker, and then he played him in Europe, just in one of those positions, and him and Delo scored, didn't he? And
was that away in Turkey or something? Was it Fenerbahce?
Somewhere.
He played well.
Somewhere like that.
Yeah,
he played well, but then he got injured again.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can see him back. But if we sold him, I'd be devastated.
Maz, Brighton, I mean, Adam there's talking about, he's just focused on European football. I mean, that's obviously a focus for you for next season. Do you think you can make it?
We're 2 points behind Chelsea in fourth. We're 7th at the moment. We're doing well. Obviously, Forest FA Cup game was, one of the worst sort of 90 minutes I've watched live. Last 15 minutes was great. We were doing quite well, but lost on penalties and bitterly disappointed not getting that cup run. But I don't see why not. We've got a young manager. We've got a really young squad. Got some really exciting players. Baleba is just one of the best players I've seen live in a long, long time. I just think we're a really exciting squad. Maybe not this season. I think Conference League could be quite realistic. If we get that, I'll be buzzing with that. Kazakhstan away, I'll be all over that. You've got to be realistic as well. We spent a lot of money in the summer. I think 200 million. So there's a lot of expectation in that sense. But look, it's going to be really tough. There's a lot of good teams around us. A lot of people trying to fight for European spots. But why not? Why can't we dream?
You'd always feel like a club who sells someone each summer. You spent a lot of money last summer, so you're saying about Baleba in midfield. Is he the one you think that could go? Or is there someone else in the squad?
If we're selling Caicedo for 100 million, I think he's worth about 150. I think his ceiling is so much higher than Caicedo. I think he's got, don't get me wrong, he has got his moments. Like even against Forest, he was pretty poor, to be honest with you. But he's 19. He's so raw. He's still young. He's still got so much development to go. So I just think he's got that kind of quality. But annoyingly, as soon as someone does well, we get spoken about. As soon as, anyone plays well for Brighton, they're sold, see you later. And it's just, it's frustrating as a fan because you want to keep your nucleus of the squad. You want to kick on. You want to get better every season. But if you start selling Caicedo, McAllister, Cucurella, Ben White, what chance have we got? Do you know what I mean? All these sharks come round, show a bit of money, and they're off. So,
well, where do you sign those players from?
Smaller clubs?
Yeah.
To be fair, Tony Bloom's got a system. He's got I think it's called Starlink, and he's got this like sort of database where he'll go scout. So he's using the tools available to him. He's doing it. So what more do you want from him?
Amy, Ipswich, how have you found the Premier League this season? Because I always think of clubs who, especially Ipswich, who was so successful for 2 years, big jump, and then you go from watching the team who win most weeks to losing most weeks. How have you found the Premier League?
I'm still clinging on to that hype. We keep thinking like this time last year. I've just been down to Portman Road. It was like this time last year we beat Sheffield 6-0, and then it's coming up to the Coventry game, the whole game, and that's really nice. But it's also reached a point where, okay, we're in reality now. And I owe Paul a little bit of an apology because when I spoke to you back in August, I think my enthusiasm might have rubbed off on you in a bit. And I don't know if you remember, but you predicted us to finish 12th. So
I've been out the night before. So. No, do you know what? I do remember. I was waiting for you to say it, actually. I've been a little bit disappointed. I'm sure you have as well, because I thought you'd be. I think I mentioned like the Blackpool team that came up, when you because you've scored loads of goals. I know it's in the Championship, but you haven't really been battered by many teams, have you? It's just been a little bit boring. I think
we've had a few 4-1s. That feels like a bit of a regular scoreline. At Anfield, that was 4-1, and I've sat through a few droppings, but not a massive. We haven't had another 9-0 again. That's still back in the 90s.
But you haven't scored anywhere near as many goals, have you, that I thought you would have done?
And the last 2 years, our thing has been, we'll be fine because however many we concede, we'll score 2 more. And we have, the name is bound to come up, Liam Delap. He has been incredible. But actually, when you look, the number of goals and the gaps in between him scoring, it's just it's not enough for what you need your number one striker to be. So it has been hard to score, and then we just aren't of the quality to be able to defend against the big teams in the other end. Old Trafford 3-2. The only reason we got that first, I have no idea what happened there. We were all laughing in the away end. It was great fun, but it's been slip-ups.
Andre and Anna.
So we've had a bit of fun, but it has mostly been about...
That's why I expected them kind of results of 3-2s, 4-3s, 4-0s. I expected that from you, but has he gone a little bit too defensive, do you think? Trying not to get hammered every week?
No, actually, our problem has often been the opposite, where we've been pushing forward and we've been caught on the counter-attack, that because we just haven't got the pace and the quality to be able to then stop when we've put as we always used to, we put everything into going forward and trying to get a goal, and we just can't. And then we haven't been clinical enough in front of goal at the Molineux. It ended, we had it was 93rd or something minute winner from Jack Taylor from a header from a corner. It was one of the best. That will be my highlight of this season. But it shouldn't have been 2-1. We should have been well up, because that was when Wolves were really, really struggling. I genuinely thought from what I saw that day, we might stay up because they are dire, but they've managed to pull themselves. They were terrible. I've never seen anything like it. But we haven't managed to step up. And we've had the odd result where it probably should have been a win and we've let it be a draw, or it could have been a draw. And we were just saying before, it's been amazing when we've managed to draw away at Villa or whatever. You can't get through on the, oh my God, we drew against Man U at home. That's amazing. It's not enough.
Well, who would you rather keep in the summer, Delap or McKenna, the manager?
I think I don't. Why do I have to pick? Can I just lock them both in?
I'm just reading the question.
Liam has been amazing, but actually part of me thinks it would be unfair to cling on to him almost. I mean, obviously we can't. There's all buyback clauses and all of this stuff, and he needs to be Premier League. He cannot be Championship. He is far too good. I would love to see him with the better service and a team behind him that aren't panicking, who are giving him more of that. So we don't panic, that's really harsh of me. But we are, like him getting more service, because when he does get the ball, he is terrifying. But again, he hasn't been clinical enough, but he's young, he's learning. It's, his first time being, every game, I think, he's been, except for when he got himself banned, he's always first pick on that team. So he's been special. That said, I would rather let him go and keep Kieran, because I think he's probably the only chance we've got of coming back up again. I don't want to have to lose him in the summer to another Premier League club and then have to start again. This is part of our journey. We've got to the Premier League. Most of us were expecting to come back down, although I was a bit cocky about it in the summer. The expectation now would be back up again. And if we don't manage it, that's a failure. And the only way I feel like we can do that is if we carry this journey on with McKenna. He's going to keep building this team. It was a 5-year vision from the owners when they took up. We're not at the end of that yet. And I'm praying that he will want to see the story through.
Well, we'll see what happens, and that brings to an end another edition of the Fan Debate on The Overlap, brought to you by Sky Bet.